State in both basketball and baseball, and back then Rincon had a powerhouse team in basketball.
We really did, year after year. Dick King, the great coach. In fact, my junior year, I didn't even start. We were runner-up in the state, and senior year, we got in the semifinals but lost. But yeah, it was a very good basketball program for many, many years.
And then baseball also, we came in second in our senior year, but we had some good teams.
We had a real good team our senior year. It was really unfortunate losing the final game. That was a tough one. What was really unfortunate is I struck out the bases loaded to end the game. That was what really was unfortunate.
But, you know, it just I mean, to play two sports like that, I think it's tough to do that now. I mean, all the time you spent in the summer doing both sports.
I think it's real tough now, at least from what, you know, like my nephews tell me, they almost encourage you to stick to one sport, and it's a year-round activity, so it wasn't like that for us, you know. It was, one day was basketball, the next day was baseball, and that's the way it was.
So I remember, I mean, for a long time, when we were in high school, you wanted to play ASU with Bobby Winkles, and it ended up happening.
It did, and you know, people still ask me about that, because at that time, every baseball kid in Tucson went to the U of A, and I think I was the first one not to do that. But you know, at that time, ASU was winning national championships. They were putting guys like Sal Bando and Reggie Jackson and Rick Money in the big league. So it was just at the top, one of the top programs in the country. So that's where I wanted to go, and I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship. I was telling somebody, you know, we'd come down to play the U of A, and I'd be warming up on the sidelines at High Corbett Field and saw several beer cans fly by my face. So some people never forget.
I remember when, I think our senior year, Jim Brock, who was then coach at Mesa, came down to talk with us. And so after practice, I remember he was talking to us about, you know, coming to Mesa. And back then there were only 6 JCs, and that Mesa was a new one. And we both, after we left, where the heck is Mesa Junior College?
Yeah, that wasn't even in my mindset. You know, that was way out in the country back then, so I'd never even heard of Mesa Community College. So I think I picked the right one.
Yeah. Well, then he came over. Was he there when you were there then?
He came in my senior year in place of Bobby Winkles, right?
And you won in your team, 1969, won the College World Series, and then in '72, the runner-up.
We won the College World Series my freshman year, and we were runner-up my senior year, and kind of like the high school final, I lost the final game to USC 1-0 in the College World Series. That was a disappointment.
Is this true? Your World Series ERA is 0.00?
College World Series
College
ERA.
World Series.
Yes, that's true. And I still lost 1-0.
That record's not going to be broken.
No, tie is all you're going to do there.
And also, let's talk about, because, you know, I don't know if we do it now, but back then, when you were in college, played for good teams, most of the guys went and played summer ball in Alaska, and they had some really good teams up there.
Yeah, I spent all 3 of my college summers in Anchorage playing for the Anchorage Pilots, and we won the Summer World Series 2 times. My first year and my last year we won the Summer World Series.
And you had the game you play at midnight or something with no lights on?
Yeah, the Midnight Sun game. It starts in Fairbanks, Alaska at midnight with no lights on. It's really a cool deal.
So, of course, we both wanted to play professional baseball, and after your senior year, you get drafted by Houston, and you moved up pretty quick.
Yeah, I spent 1 season in the minor leagues, the first season after I signed, and I was fortunate enough to make the big club the next year. So my rookie year was '73, and my manager was Leo DeRocher, actually. So
I remember, you know, because I was in Houston, remember when they had an Astrotown, which was a complex with the dorms and a rec room and all the fields. And we used to play pool, and Leo roomed with Babe Ruth, and you know, he was the manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers, you know, when Jackie Robinson first came. Remember, we played pool, and he'd teach us this game, and if you started losing, the rules would change.
Yeah, he did the same thing in cards. He thought he was the world's best gin rummy player, and he did the same thing. If he was losing the rules, all of a sudden changed. Jacks were wild.
But you know, when we were young like that, you didn't think much about him being the manager of Brooklyn when Jackie Robinson came up.
No, I didn't. In fact, you know, I didn't even know that until I saw the movie 42, to be honest with you. I didn't know that was the case.
I didn't either. And the guy looked like him a lot, didn't he, the actor?
He did, yeah, it was funny.
And also now, you played with the Astros, and then you went to play with the Tigers, and that manager was Ralph Houk, who was with the Yankees all those years, in the 50s.
Yeah, the major. Ralph Houck, you know, when I was growing up, I think Pat was the same way. You know, I was just a big Mickey Mantle fan and New York Yankees fan, and Ralph Houck was the manager of several New York Yankee World Series. So I had the fortunate opportunity to play for him for 3 years.
And the Tigers were, I remember we had to play a game there, that was like Kid Glove Night or whatever it is there. That stadium was pretty rough, huh?
The neighborhood was pretty rough. It was pretty much off the freeway into the player parking lot and blocked the door.
But I mean, it was all wood, the stadium was all wood too.
Well, it was, I think at that time it was the second oldest stadium in play. So yeah, it was rough, but it was a great pitcher's ballpark. You know, they had deep fences, high grass, so it's a great place to pitch. Not so much to hit, but to pitch.
Now, of course, Little League's just winded down now. You were, your team at Saguaro, you had a really good Little League team there.
Yeah, our Little League team actually went to the regionals. I think we lost the last game before going to the Little League World Series. So that was good.
So when did you start thinking, I mean, you left-handed pitcher, when you were a little kid, I could play in the major leagues?
Yeah, I heard somebody else say they dreamed of it, I think, since they were 6 years old. It was probably since about 10 years old when I first thinking, yeah, this is what I want to do.
You know what's weird when you go up there and play is that all of a sudden you meet some guys and you got his baseball card and you really kind of idolized them.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Well, listen, congratulations, huh, Jim?
Thanks, Brad.
Okay. Frank Garcia.
First of all, I want to say, aren't we two handsome men right here?
That's right. Frank, South Point grad. You played football, basketball, and baseball at South Point in the early 70s?
Yes, I did.
And what did you, were you a punter back then, or you played other positions?
In football, I was a quarterback, running back, punt returner, kick returner, cornerback, did it all.
So back then, I don't think there were that many clinics to go to. You just naturally could kick the ball.
I think it was. But it was also something that I worked very hard on. Worked hard on it during the summer. Coach, when you're going from one sport to another, there's no time for practice of those particular sports. So I spent a lot of time in the backyard, making my own goalposts and stuff like that.
So you were both the kicker and the punter then back then?
Yes, I was.
So I mean, when you were like 8th grade, because you kicked the ball, like everybody's looking, wow, this guy's really good.
Well, in 8th grade, all we had was kickball. I went to Santa Cruz Elementary School. And I had some buddies that we used to try to see if we could kick it over the building of the school. And if you kick it over the building of the school, it would go out in the street. So that meant one of us had to go get it, and sometimes we didn't come back to school.
So you're at South Point, you're all city, all state, and you were playing you were with quarterback, you did everything.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So in U of A, I'm just a punter.
Well, as I was talking to Dennis, I had a transitional period after high school, and I actually had Coach Cush come to my house, but I already told U of A, Coach Young and Coach Makovic, that I was going to U of A, that was back like in August, September. But Coach Baker from ASU kept on calling me, kept on talking to me, and then early January, Coach Cush came to my house, sat in my daddy's chair, and just said, you know, your son's not the best football player in the state of Arizona, he's the best athlete. So I had to go there.
Okay, that's where you went then, huh?
And then my transitional period happened again, and I came back to U of A, and I talked to Coach Mason. Coach Mason is a great individual, great coach. And then Coach Shaw, who was a linebacker coach and the defensive coordinator at that time, because I was still playing cornerback on the scout team. Scout team's really tough. Let me tell you, ain't no fun in scout team. And Coach Shaw came up to me and said, because I only had a year or two eligibility at U of A, ended up only with 1 year. And he said, listen, Frank, I want to give you some advice. He also changed my drop, which was crazy. And he told me, I know you're a heck of an athlete on defense, but I'm thinking, looking at your future, you should stick to punting. And I did.
And then you went to the NFL.
Well, not so quick. My only season at U of A was 78. My first camp was in 79. And so I went through camp up to 1983. So there was 5, I went to 5 camps, really 6 camps if you include the United States Football League. I played for Chicago Blitz for the Chicago Blitz with Coach Jordan, no. Coach Allen. I'm sorry. When you're 57, it goes on. Anyway, so, and then finally, as I was going through the camps, and I finally got an opportunity with Tampa Bay in '83. I was there in '81 and came back in '83, and they wanted me to come back. Eventually made that team, got very lucky.
Weren't you all pro in '83?
Yes, I was.
So, you know, I mean, it's gotta be tough being a punter because you're probably practicing, all these other guys are bringing in all the time, right?
Well, that's true too. And then, you know, I played for Coach McKay, and Coach McKay has cut a punter or kicker at halftime. And that's a big story down there. Coach McKay was great, but, you know, he has his ways. And so it's a very difficult situation because you don't get very many opportunities, but when you do, you have to really perform.
5 years is a long time to be punter in the NFL.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can always wish you played 5 more, but I was fortunate enough to have those 5 years. Very grateful for them. It was an unbelievable experience.
I imagine the life of a punter. If you're not punting, you're watching the game, hoping the other punter messes up, so you get over there.
No, you're not doing that. You're just waiting for the next punt. Make sure you're ready for it because you never know what's going to happen with Tampa in those years.
So, but that's being really though. But if you're out there, you make one mistake, or no one really, you make a mistake. Or, oh God, look at that guy, get him out of here, right?
Well, that's true too. But it also looks, you know, every single coach is evaluating you all the time when you're on the field. Even when you're off the field, they're evaluating you, and you just got to make sure that you're doing the best you can. You give 100% effort, and if you screw up, you just got to tell them that. All
right, and now you're also a administrator right now, right?
Yes, I am. After I left Tampa, came back home. I subbed for a full year in the Sunnyside School District. My sister worked down there too, Irene. And I had my degree in education. I was fortunate enough going through all the camps that I've been to that I saved up enough money to pay for school. And my mom said, either you go to school or work, and I did not want to work. So, I finally, I was subbing. This is a great story. I was subbing at Sunnyside High School, and Richard Sanchez, I've known Richard since, Richard went to St. John's, I went to Santa Cruz, so we knew each other ever since grade school. And he was there, and he said, hey, listen, my buddy Don Clauster, I got a head job at Kofa High School. I go, where in the heck is that at? He goes, it's in Yuma. So called Don, great, he hired me, been there ever since. I taught for 9 years, been an administrator. This is actually my 16th year and my last year. This is my 25th year in the school district, and I am going to retire at the end of this school year.
So as one more thing, as a punter, did you ever throw a pass?
No, but I did my first year there at Tampa during a preseason game against the Atlanta Falcons. They had Billy White Shoes Johnson back there, and got a bad snap and ran it for a first down, 35 yards rushing.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.